Hello and welcome to Larry Has Opinions. This time of the year, everyone seems to be doing this, and I didn't want to be left out. So here's my mid-year freak out, whatever thingy it is. Best book you've read so far in 2021. I have to say I'm quite depressed because there's nothing that I rated 5 stars this year. So I had to go through my list, and there's quite a few books I quite liked, or liked even quite a lot, but no new favorites, no books that I really fell for really hard. So I picked for this question the Dark Forest by Cixin Liu, even though it's probably the trilogy as a whole that stood out the most, I have to say, this year. I have a full review on the channel. If you're interested, please go watch it. But this is probably best suited for the fans of hard sci-fi books with not necessarily very deep and interesting characters, but with a lot of science and interesting concepts thrown in. It's very much in the tradition of your Asimovs, of your Clarks, of the past. That's what it really felt like. And this is probably the one I'm going to remember the most out of all the things I've read during these 6 months. Best sequel you've read so far in 2021. For this one, I've picked Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie. I've enjoyed the whole trilogy quite a lot, but probably the third book is the one that I found the best executed. I have to say the ending, I know some people don't like it, but personally, I found almost redeeming the whole trilogy. Not that it necessarily needed redemption, but it really defined it for me as something that really stood out, and it was really different from anything that I've read in fantasy before. New release you haven't read yet, but want to. I've picked Harlem Shuffle by Colson Whitehead. I already have received an advanced reader copy for this, but I have not read it yet. I have not read anything by him before, and I know that some of his books are kept in really high regard by quite a few people I really respect, so I really felt like I wanted to read something by him, and I think this is going to be the perfect opportunity. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And for this one, I've picked Never by Ken Follett. I've mentioned before, Ken Follett is definitely one of my favorite authors. And he's releasing Never, which is more in the tradition of his early works, so more of a thriller rather than historical fiction. And he'll be releasing that later this year. So I have to say, I'm quite looking forward to that. And I really hope it's going to be a good one. Biggest disappointment. I've chosen Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit by Jeanette Winterson. This was my second Winterson. I read Frankenstein last year and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. So I had sort of high expectations from this because this is one of her most famous works and a lot of people like it. And I just thought it'd be really good. It was really underwhelming for me. You could definitely tell this was an early work and it was like almost someone trying really hard to be really clever, but didn't really work for me. So I have to say I was quite disappointed by this. Bigger surprise. Small Pleasures by Claire Chambers. I'm participating in this readathon that has a prompt that says, pick a book that has food on the cover. So this is the only reason why I picked this one up. Not really the only reason. It was already on my radar a little bit, but it wasn't necessarily something I was expecting I would be reading. And then on a whim, like I often do, I picked this one up. And I thought it was incredible. It's definitely one of my favorites from this year, and also one I wasn't necessarily expecting much from. This is a story of a journalist in London in the 50s that is investigating a claim of a virgin birth. So it's really intriguing and it's really well executed and really a pleasure to read. So I would really recommend this. Favorite new author? I've chosen Avni Doshi. I read Burnt Sugar earlier this year, which I found an absolutely stunning book. It explores the relationship between a mother and a daughter, where the mother wasn't necessarily the role model of what's expected of a mother. And she has some sort of early stage, not even that early stage, I guess, but dementia. So the daughter needs to look after her, but also she's quite resentful because of things that happened in the past. So the book explores in a very clever way this relationship, as well as other themes of motherhood and memory. And I can't believe that's a debut novel because it's incredible. So I can't imagine what she's going to do next. I'm definitely keen to read anything that she writes in the future. Newest fictional crush. I don't really fall for characters in books normally, but if I really have to pick one, I might pick Piranesi from Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. He's supposed to be quite handsome, and he's really sweet, really naive, really innocent and well-intentioned. So I guess probably that would be the one. Newest favorite character, and I've chosen Thomas Cromwell from Wolf Hall. I haven't actually finished it as I'm filming this, but I can already see how this character is one that is really going to stick with me for a very long time. Obviously, it's a historical character, someone who actually existed, not fictional. But I guess how Mantel is presenting him, obviously, it has to be fictional. We don't necessarily know exactly what he was thinking at all times, like it's described in the book. But I'm definitely getting attached, and he's extremely clever and really interesting to follow. Book that made you cry, Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro, but not for the reasons you were expecting. It did not actually make me cry, but I'm putting it as the answer to this question because it made me so sad that it wasn't as good as I was hoping the book it would be. Again, I have a full review for this if you're interested, but it was just a big disappointment, and I don't want to think about it. Book that made you happy. I don't actually read that many books that are happy books, but if I really have to pick one for this, then it has to be Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is probably the only one I've read over these 6 months that has that sort of happy vibe. And this is the story between the first son of the United States falling in love with the son of Prince Henry of England. So there's a lot of drama that ensues, but it's a kind of sweet and cheesy and corny love story, but it knows what it is. It's not pretending to be anything other than that. And it was just a very enjoyable read, I guess. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. As you guys might know, I read, for the most part, ebooks. So I've not bought any physical book whatsoever during the last 6 months. And I've only received one. So this is an easy choice for me because I've only got one to show you. And it's The Employees by Olga something. And this was sent to me by the lovely Bob the Bookerer, who was finished with it. And instead of just giving it away, he gave it to me. I'm not sure if it's beautiful, but it's the only one I've got. So, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Well, I don't need to read any books by the end of the year. So, well, I hope you guys like this video. Please do give me a thumbs up. Join our Discord, the link is down below, and I'll see you the next time.